10-minute recess is almost up. Everybody ready to go back into the court? Hey everybody, welcome back to yesterday's continuation of the court hearing in Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Are we ready? Ready to carry on? Ready to see whatever the hell we're going to come up with tonight? Hey Ash, what's up? Good to see you. How's it going? Hope your Friday was alright. Shall we hop in? So, what has transpired last night? A whole lot of old bag, most definitely, has transpired. And the fact that the Nickel Samurai wasn't exactly the man himself on guard, because the person wearing the costume was a tad too short, which we kind of missed looking at the photo. Although I did click on the pants in the very beginning. I'm still salty about that. And Edgeworth saved our ass, more or less, by prolonging today's trial without moving it to the next day, so we can potentially still save Maya by proving Engard's innocence. And I guess it's good to bring up that, considering Adrian's previous life experiences, so to speak, it's pretty safe to assume that tonight's hearing is gonna be a little bit more on the heavy side, so trigger warning, just in case. And shall we, without further ado, hop in? Because, once again, sorry about the technical difficulties. The internet today is kind of shaky. Let me know if there's gonna be some more problems coming our way. Yes, I'm ready and testing new used monitor. Good luck with that. Was alright, bit brain dead, midday. Well, hopefully we're all ready and focused up for March 22nd, 2:14 p.m. Defendant lobby number 3. Let's go. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian... No way, not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So, after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then... Dude, you're saying it really was her? Yeah, she is the real killer. She was the only one, the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time the trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix? You think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews dependent on Miss Impact's as her strength and reason to live. Yep, there it goes. But then Miss Impacts suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible, but one thing bothers me. What? What was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impacts. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of the ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Maybe we shouldn't. No clue how long this stream is gonna be, by the way, considering this is part 2 of the hearing. Hopefully not terribly long, but also hopefully not terribly short. But I'm sure the game will find a way to keep us here, whether we want it or not. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court? Man, I should have looked that up. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Carrito's room. With that monitor, I can see in glorious same resolution, but twice the size. Oh, I'm so honored. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ungard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. Oh, no, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Carrito. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. Oops. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then, witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. Here we go. When I found the body. It was time for me to show. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. And you never touched it? You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime, and I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix? She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of a woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking, so you have to attack when she least expects it. The instance you let up on your offense is the instance that this trial is over. Understood? Juice is good. Juice is good. I used to enjoy tomato juice in my younger days, when my stomach could still handle it. Oh, I miss those days. Any tomato juice fans in the chat? I know it's kind of a pineapple on pizza type of topic, but I'm curious to hear your opinion on the matter. Much like pineapple on pizza discourse. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. And what was Mr. Ungard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Engard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you...
Objection!
Is it the knife? Right, I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Engard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. We're running on free HP, by the way, did you notice? Good luck to us. Good tomato is good redness in that state of transformation. Fair enough. After that, I went to Juan's room. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship. Huh? You know, I want to be brave and not afraid to fuck up, but in our current situation, we won't be seeing any more health improvements until we go investigating again. Isn't that right, game? Show was supposed to be a show of friendship. Huh. Should we try and press further? Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Kurita. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I was about to say. I see. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife locked in his chest. Lodged. And the guitar case was like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There was no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Kurita, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank. I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Press? Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that you said you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Oh, nice bat. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? That implies the guitar case would have been closed, by the way. This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume that the vase was just another part of the mess. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked over the flower vase over where it fell onto the guitar case. Hold it! What kind of flower vase was it? Vase, tomato, tomato. It was a glass vase and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take one's pulse. So I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser. And that's what my elbow accidentally hit the vase. That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself. That's what she she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality. It doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her. Phoenix, are you sure? I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to keep on the offensive and not let up. The only way you're going to catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence. I have to find something. I just have to, for my sake. Well, I think it's the guitar case. Makes sense, right? Considering it's only wet on the top. And not anywhere inside. So I poured myself a glass of juice. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell onto the guitar case. I am going to save on the same slot. We're going to try that dang case and hope for the best. Objection! Huh? Might be it. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that's the truth, the case, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. Nobody says look at this photograph anymore. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shards should have been inside, not outside the case. Ah! Objection! What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? Objection! No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. No. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think you need to hear more details about the guitar case? Maybe? Because I don't think we can pin anything on anything else, right? Do we save again? Well, I'm usually pretty paranoid with this, but now that we have a reason to be paranoid, make her testify. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. Ha! I can't believe anyone would reach the straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along, for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. The guitar case. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. But didn't it say that the guitar case only has fingerprints of the victim or something? Well, I guess... Wait a second. She was wearing the, nickel samurai fit, wasn't she? That's why. Ah, the cogwheels are turning today. For now, at least. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any ways to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. Let's do it. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see... Are you sure you are the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taking over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. Was it though? I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe? Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Corrida's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. Objection! As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic... It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. Objection! How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. The trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention.
Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright.
Sorry. Thanks for not taking my health. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's possibly it. Riveting. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found. Okay, well, again, what I'm thinking here is the fact that the case only had Kurita's fingerprints, but then again, it's suggested that she was wearing the samurai outfit, but then again, while we're watching her flashbacks now, she's not wearing the samurai outfit, so, fill with tomato juice. There's Andres' fingerprints. Letter from the costume is covered with Kurita's blood found in the guard's Hakama. Doesn't say about fingerprints or anything on this one. Well, we know about this. Having fingerprints all over the place. Time of death 8:15, strangled with the scarf, then stabbed with the knife. I'm sure they'll make us use this again at some point. Could it be the guitar case? What should we connect it to, though? Don't remember too clearly because I was dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal, though. The second point, I guess? When she talks about opening it. Save, 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 save. Save, save, save. Let's try here, I guess. If only we could heal in court somehow. If only we brought some staminans or something. Objection! There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Unless... Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are ones of the victim. Ah!
What is it, Miss Andrews?
You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time?
Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at that time?
Judge, has the 10-minute recess wiped your brain and memory that has accumulated over the first part? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion, in a nickel samurai outfit for some reason. Yes, now I remember, I was almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
Nothing strange about that. That's strange. I mean, how thin are the gloves in that outfit? That's strange. You're wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? I mean, I have the proof that you were wearing gloves, but they weren't dress gloves? Objection! Hey! I think it's time for you to go home now, right? Before you hurt yourself, that is. Hurt myself? I think Judge is going to hurt me more.
It's alright, Mr. Wright. You don't have to push yourself too hard.
I guess I was trying a little too hard there. Now, if the defense has no further objections, let's return to the testimony. Huh? But... Huh? Did I pick the wrong thing? I'm sure we were doing the right thing. Right? Should we go through the motions again? Should we pick the other answer this time? Let's try. Did I pick the wrong object in the end? The photo wasn't it, although it kinda checks out, right? Because we assumed that it was her in the photograph. Of course I was dressed up.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
Nothing strange, I guess. I guess so, and I guess that makes sense. You're the epitome of a half-baked idea. A brain is to be used not to look pretty for med students carving cadavers. Looks like I need to bake my thoughts just a little longer. So that was the wrong answer too. I guess I didn't pick the correct evidence in that case. Now, if the defense has no further objections, let's return to the testimony. I have objections! So many, so plentiful objections. I just need to pick the right answer this time. Right? We are on the right track, correct? I'm not going insane just yet, am I? Questionable, but I would like to think not. Of course she was dressed up, almost wearing a pair of gloves.
Yes, I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
That's strange. You're wearing gloves, isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that could prove I was not wearing gloves that time? Just a map. That she was not wearing gloves. Oh! Ah. Okay. Okay, my bad. My heart was in the right place, but my brain was just slightly to the right, I guess. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Ouch. Glass shards in the eyeballs, are you okay, honey?
Order!
Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty though. But the guitar, the red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either.
I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves despite the fact that, on the case...
Objection!
Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided...
Objection!
No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I am sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder.
Objection!
If you are so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case was anything at all to do with this murder. I gotta save. I have an inkling we gotta save. Okay.
Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar. Why am I having troubles saying bright red guitar every time? Explain, brain, explain. Was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
The bright red guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean to suggest that it was the bright black guitar?
So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet.
He's going to stab me in the meow-meows.
Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder?
I don't fucking know.
This photo of the murder scene, obviously. Are there any pointers to what could have been in there?
I'm not seeing none.
Steel samurai suit, maybe.
What would it be doing in Kurita's room? In that case, a good question.
There's some water, but only blood.
Dolores camera, but no, surely not.
This thing, definitely not this thing.
Glass, the button was allegedly ripped off.
Could it have been the suicide note? And she was looking for it? You know, in his room?
And maybe it wasn't the case, and he was hiding it there?
That's the only thing out of a stack of evidence that we have in our bag that I can think of, but... Suicide report? And why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one?
Why, Mr. Wright, why?
Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I mean, not the report itself, you know. I don't have the note to show you, personally. I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain is supposed to be? Ouch!
Yes, and never bring it out again!
And the foolish fool gets some love. Do you still think you can prove your theory? Can you prove that the guitar case was not empty at the time of the murder?
I wouldn't say something that I wouldn't intend to prove. Fuck.
Only 1 point of damage, how rare. And yet, we are getting closer and closer to the ledge, and we're about to break. Surely not the button, right? So we got the juice, we got the guitar case, we got the map, we got the article. We got the camera. Could it have been camera? That's how it ended up, you know, taking a picture after that. Hold on. Let's go into the profiles. If I go to you... No. No relation. Well, here comes the point and click logic once again. Because I don't know. None of these objects seem to make sense to me. Again, I was thinking she might be looking for the node. Because that's the reason why she got with Juan to begin with. Fuck it. Camera. Oh, would something like that be inside a guitar case?
Why, Mr. Wright, why?
Well, because I'm just pointing and clicking at shit by this point. I gotta reload, I'm sorry. Help, help, help. Load. Could it have been the glass of juice? I suppose for a second the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
Objection!
So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty, is that right? Wouldn't say something you didn't intend to prove. Deflate your head. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? The button? It kind of fell off, I guess, and ended up in the case, maybe? I don't know what happened. Some kind of you know, trail of events that, I don't know. Nope, not that. Okay, we're slowly narrowing the pool of things that could have been in the case. Correct. Could it have been? Not the knife. Surely not the knife. It was the second guitar case! An article? Nope. Surely not. How foolish this fool is. And still unloved. Again, the pool is narrowing. Any clever ideas that anybody has? Before we inevitably click through everything in our inventory. What's next? The knife? That's not the button. Take that knife. Nada. Same here, as you can clearly tell. Poor foolish fool that me and Phoenix collectively are. Seems like it's a confession on your post ceremony stage show. The walkie-talkie? Surely I don't have to pick this again. Surely not. Nope. It's not a guitar case matryoshka. Turns out. Well, worth a try. But seriously, what the hell? My perfectly legit theory cannot be proven because all I have is the freaking autopsy report or whatever. That apparently is not good enough as a pointer. Or Suicide report. Hair on a knife. We've already tried pretty much all of this shit. Let's go profiles. Let's try her. I know she wasn't in the guitar case, but you know what the implications here are, correct? Down the list we go, in that case. Because anything that could have been related to this current undergoing thing apparently makes no ding-dang sense. Should I even be doing this, or... We should have not selected an option that led us to this. Because we don't have the evidence. Actually. Objection to any of this happening to begin with. Okay, so we've tried this. It can't be this, surely. We've tried this, tried this, tried this, haven't tried glass. Well, makes no sense, right? Definitely not the map, I would assume. Can't be the photo of the murderer. Try this, try this. Surely not this. Autopsy report, tried knife. This is the only thing that I haven't tried yet. Help! Send help! Let's try her report. Nope. Still ain't it. I definitely chose the correct report first time, right? That costume we tried... I mean, we haven't tried the photograph that was taken after she went outside. Now then, last health point. Let me go! They wouldn't let me go. This makes zero contextual sense. I'm going to load. To when we still had our health points. Some of them, at least. Because, one, why the fuck should her costume, his costume, be inside Karita's room? Unless somebody put it there earlier, and, well, we didn't know about that. And second, my train of thought was that, you know, they would be like, oh, why the fuck did they put a photo inside the guitar case? Same as it was, you know, with the report that I kind of pushed as the note related thing. Spark costume, but it's not his costume.
Objection!
It's his rival's costume. Because the guitar case was in Jamming Ninja's room. Why would a spare samurai costume doing in Ninja's room? You get me? You feel me?
This is a photograph. Look at it.
Yes, but what is important is what is in the picture, Your Honor.
In this picture?
It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. Okay, then it would have made a bit more sense for me to push this photo instead, I would say, at least. And not the one of her leaving the room. Also... never mind. What?
Point and click logic, whatever. Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get the shot, correct?
You mean this photo? Order! Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we?
Nice job, Phoenix.
Oh, thanks.
Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. Or, you know, point things and click them until you come across the right thing. Or check wiki.
So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume.
Wait a second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai costume would have been Mr. Matt and Guards. Yeah? Why would something of the defendants be in the victim's room? Yeah? And inside the guitar case of all places? Yeah?
True. That is a little baffling. I am baffled. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts.
Yes, Mr. Wright, please tell us. I'm listening too. It will cost you 1 point if you get it wrong. Mr. Wright.
What was the Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case?
It was stolen from a guard. It was a spare costume. It could be either one. Could have, you know, placed it there.
Premeditated, as some might say.
It could have been stolen and, you know, it was a spare costume that has been stolen. I don't know anymore what this game. Jesus. Hello, Raiders! Welcome to the stream! How's everybody doing? Happy Friday! Good to see y'all. What's up? What have you guys been playing? Hello, K-Bane? What's up, what's up? We are trying to survive this trial that we kind of split in half. We've been streaming this yesterday as well, but then it was starting to get late. And we're doing the part 2 of it today, and hopefully we will live through it. As you can see, we have barely any health left. And struggling to grasp with our collective brains some of the logics of this game that seem to be leaning heavily into point-and-click unlogic, as Yesh has stated earlier. Been playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Nice. Haven't played that one yet, and this is also my first playthrough, so please, 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 pretty please, no spoilies. But if the assistance will be required, I will make it very obvious. So yeah. We're here to review your judge voicing. 10 out of 10, thank you. I've been trying really hard to voice all of these wonderful characters that we've been encountering so far in the trilogy, because yeah, we are playing the trilogy. So yeah, thank you for dropping by. Hope you have a lovely time with us. And this goddamn case. I was picking someone to raid, and I liked your judge voice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That being said, what was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? Everyone?
It was a spare? Again, shooting in the dark at this point. Mr. Angard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What?
Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Yes, that is what I am saying.
And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It would mean that the victim himself had brought his spare to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Kurita, was the Jamin ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
Therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Guilty? Huh? No, I just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume?
Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? No. Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think.
The reason the victim brought the...
Sorry. The judge is in the picture, and thus I speak as judge. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... dirt? Yeah, no way, of course. I wanted to rate this because I haven't gotten far in Chronicles, and the other person streaming it was clearly ahead of where I was. Makes sense. But I assume you have played the, these Phoenix Wright games also. Phoenix is actually a bird. That's how he talked to Polly. Yes, that is correct. I miss Polly already. But also, that being said, why was he being attacked by Mockingjay in the previous case? Or whatever that tiny bird was that was flying in his face. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... well, again, I'm thinking it might have something to do with this, but then again, I am stupid. Once again, grasping at straws here. Did we save? I hope we saved. Phoenix, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Potentially? I presented the evidence with gusto, just like you said. I told you to present it with gusto, yes. But I seem to recall the sentence before that was, think carefully.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
Sorry. This one is pretty tough. I really think you should look carefully at the court record.
Oh, okay. Let's look at the court record.
And then search through your memories. The answer is there. I know you'll find it.
Now then, are you ready to try again, Mr. Wright? Minus the wrong evidence this time and minus one hit point.
Alright, this is what I think. The reason victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... well, we know that he was strangled with a scarf. Yes. Then stabbed with a knife. Yes. The thing is... like, he doesn't have a white scarf or anything, if we want to connect those two pieces together. If that's what she's trying to imply. Can we actually read the thing? No. No, we cannot. Yes, though it's been a while, it was to cover the fact that he is a bird. Perhaps? Time of death, 8:15. Cause strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. What could the possible reason be? Could it be, once again, the photo? To, like, incriminate someone or anything? By wearing the spare costume? Let's go. Phoenix is doing some stupid shit again, did you notice? Thanks for noticing. Well, that's again 2 off the list. I've looked at the court report. and then I loaded bravely. How long ago? Okay, we went with the spare costume. I assume that's the correct choice? Right? I had the spare. Uh-huh. 2 nickel samurai costumes. Could it be connected to the... him having to confess something at the ceremony thing? The post-ceremony thing? Phoenix, use your brain. Your 3 whole brain cells. Use them. I'm pretty sure I didn't pick this one before, so here.
What is this?
On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
A press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at the conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? I definitely didn't just kinda, you know, winged it. See what I did there? Winged, like a bird. Phoenix. See? You see? You get the joke? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
But how can that be?
The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Carita himself.
The victim?
Yes. The spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Carita was going to hold the press conference as the Steel Samurai. Yes, the threads are connecting. He's gotta be a bird.
He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing?
That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at the conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Engard.
Yes, I guess that is what it would mean.
But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's a public disclosure. Details.
Miss Andrews?
I can see why you are pros at what you do.
Pardon me?
Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan.
Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
You?
Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought, anyway.
He was going to ruin him, huh?
It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career that had it been revealed. What?
And do you know what the secret of Mr. Engard's is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is.
Ah, I see.
I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. Engard?
And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand. Here I go, protecting Matt. Everyone ready to hold it? From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
This does account for everything.
Except, Matt sleeping. Everybody forgot about that. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine, Mr. Wright.
Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn the logic upside down. Does it mean that they'll be threatening us the rest of our health this whole time? The last shred that remains? Okay, here we go. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Why? Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. Silk hat, white roses, the frigging cloak. Wait, wrong case. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. Is that a hint? You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school, but at least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Matt had to kill no matter what. Again, why? So, would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt and Guard.
And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Angard himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? I mean, he told me. Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony.
Yes, I agree, Miss Andrews. Please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we? Mr. Wright, oh shit, she's noticing. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove it. Prove I'm right. Has Mr. Angar done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Kurita with his press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Angard, yet you still helped out.
Objection!
The person on trial right now is Mr. Angard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of your concern. Actually, it kinda is though. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Angard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me that now that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Angard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. Then how did he kill? In his sleep? However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
I keep trying, but I can't find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however.
The judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy.
Hey!
My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button?
What about it? There's no fingerprints on that, somehow. Again? You were wearing the gloves, weren't you?
It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Didn't we already establish that he was first strangled and then the button was ripped?
We're talking about this button, correct?
That button was found in the place of Matt's hammer. Isn't that correct?
And who was wearing that hammer again?
Wasn't he wearing his red racing jackets, according to Old Bag? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence.
Don't irk me, Phoenix! Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gratefully accept his defeat. Gracefully?
Thank goodness Maya can still look at me.
With an icy stare, yes.
Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. Please.
That button was turned off, off one during his fight with Matt. And how do you know that? The ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up. They were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard.
I've heard that before too.
But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you are not.
I thought I had her this time for sure.
If there's anything to trip her up on,
it has to be here, but where and what? Okay, take note of the second to last one, I guess?
But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? Or the front? Potentially. And at the worst possible time.
Objection!
Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it?
This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so?
It's the same reason why Mr. Kurita planned such an elaborate conference.
Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Engard as much damage as she possibly could.
This witness bears ill will towards the defendant.
Objection!
This isn't the Phoenix Wright wax philosophical power hour.
Why not?
And please stop slandering the witness.
As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid.
Really? Because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more.
You should know this by now. But you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk.
Got it, Chief. I'm going to pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. Okay, so they suggested that it's the second to last, but let's read through these one more again.
From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right.
Well, where's your decisive evidence, huh, Miss Andrews?
And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. do we bring up the murder scene photograph for the autopsy report that he was, strangled first? Save! Save. Let's save on this one. Let's try the report first. First stab, first strangle, then stab.
Objection!
Correct. This is the victim's autopsy report. Not outdated, I hope. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died.
And what does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it is impossible that this button was turned off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ah! That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. When uncertain, save and save again. Correct.
Order! I didn't get to read the rest of that.
What is the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was turned off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button turned off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We know this button was not turned off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposefully rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it?
To have a memento of the crime? Aww. How sentimental. To pin the crime on en garde? Duh.
To destroy evidence.
I mean, for once I feel somewhat confident. Should we save again? I'm feeling fairly certain, but considering how much this game likes to, turn things on its head, I am going to save. Always save. See? The viewers are on my side. Pin the crime! There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Enguarde. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. Makes sense? That's right, Mr. Enguarde was set up. By the real killer, of course. I love saving just in case makes me feel safe. Fun fact, when we were first playing the first game in the trilogy, the original Ace Attorney, I had no idea you could save mid-case. Somebody in the chat, when we were already halfway through the game, was kinda, oh, by the way, do you know that you can save whenever? And I was like, shit, seriously? So whenever we, get the guilty verdict, would have to go all the way back. And either I would have to, redo the whole thing up to the point, or we'd have to click through the entire thing up to when we, got the guilty. So, yeah, that happened. That was embarrassing. And now that I know that I can scum this, you better believe it. I'm doing it as much as I can.
And the real murderer is? Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then?
Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, You can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. Oh, there it is. The last 3 points are on the line. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Engard, is... I guess we're going into their profiles now. It's her. It wasn't enough that she was shot in the shoulder. It was definitely her. She could also use a time out, I think. Put her in a slammer for a few years. Also, why do you mean age? Question mark, question mark. Isn't she supposed to be 20? Okay. What could it possibly be? Well, they are kinda pushing the angle that it's her, but somehow, believe it or not, I don't think that it was her. Not Gumshoe. Leave the poor man alone. And her, well, she follows the gossip, does not make it. I think they want us to push Adrian. Don't ask a lady her age, I guess. Well, she did say that once she hit 20, she stopped counting how old she was, so we assume that she retained the age of 20. Getting it wrong just insta-kills you, yep. Our last 3 shreds of health. Right there. Hanging on the line. Obviously, the only choice. Present badge. Oh. It actually also really disappoints me that in this game, barely anyone gives like any unique interaction when you present the badge. It's mostly like, oh, I don't know anything about this, or I don't have time to talk about nonsense. I missed the first game already. Let's try her. We saved, right? Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you! You are Mr. Kurita's killer! What?
Order! 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 Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. Well, preposterous! You can't stick any of that on me! I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Engard, naturally. A knife covered in the dependent's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Give you a second to recover. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Engard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. No. Yes? How many pairs of glasses have we changed today? The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Engard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap. Excuse me, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. Holly did it? No. Leave poor Polly alone and out of this. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. Now, Money the Monkey, now there's a potential culprit, if you ask me. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. Edgeworth, pay attention. Do you have a brain leak, much like the judge? And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. Or the fucking gloves, as we already went through like 5 times. But the class of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic day's discoverer of a dead body. Ah. And to top it all off, there is the photo. Photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Engard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please, stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time.
Miss Andrews?
I refuse to testify.
What was that?
There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Engard's room... Hold on, I need a drink. It's not nearly strong enough to alleviate the damage that we're about to receive, but I do need to hydrate. Everybody, have you been hydrating? Hydration check, posture check, food check, meds check to those of you who recently entered the stream. This is your chance. This is our second hydration check today. And let's have a stretch, courtesy of Life is Weird. Welcome to the stream. How are you holding up? We're just incriminating some people in court. Welcome. And we're having a flashback to Von Karma, as you can tell. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Yes. Understood? Alright. Okay, I hope that was all of it. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done. What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. I really like the sound of that word. You have yet to prove a single piece of definitive proof. prove that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Kurita.
Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Kurita?
I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering.
But, Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it. There is nothing to prove it either way. Strange sentence, but okay. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No! She's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should I do? Somehow I have landed in the worst possible situation. You and me both.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof.
But that's not true.
In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. And tomorrow's trial.
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. We don't get a not guilty verdict today, then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
It is not possible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews. When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually, when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we found out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. Still going, baby! I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. Oh, that Edgeworth.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
You heard of Maya, so he got softer? Oh, potentially. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. Okay. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. Conveniently fainting into a chair. Then I realized that he was dead. That's when I knocked the flower vase over.
So was it open or closed? Should we get back to that discussion? So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left.
I know. Hedgeworth, what the heck is going on with that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
It was Clopen? Of course. Silly me. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself.
But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right?
Of course not.
Then who did you pour it for?
Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you just wait a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state.
So it was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Kurita?
Objection!
I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then, what did you see next, witness?
Okay, we'll consider the second point, I guess. That might have been a hint.
And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner.
Slumped over.
Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping.
Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd? Okay, that too, apparently.
When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind.
Then what did cross your mind?
I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix, and then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap.
Makes perfect sense. Case closed.
Anyways, that's what I thought.
I see. So you didn't think he was dead after all.
To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice.
What are you going to do? Waterboard him with it if he was unconscious? You thought he fainted.
I thought he was asleep at first. But then the room was in such a messy state, I thought maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice. Yes, he always had a hard time waking up. So Juan always had a glass of tomato juice to drink.
I see. And after that, what happened next?
When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead?
I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backwards.
And knocked the flower vase over. So that's what happened.
Yes. This is what it all comes down to. Huh? This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now's your best chance to kill the prosecution's case.
Isn't that a bit harsh, Miss Andrews?
Will you tell us the truth this time?
I don't know.
Okay, so we're thinking these two at least won the game, kinda sown the seed of suspicion into our minds after we pushed it. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And one, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. I saw him sitting like that and thought at once that he was tired, crossed my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase off.
What about the guitar case? Objection!
Well, one way or another, we are saving. We are saving so hard right now.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm doing it.
Objection!
This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. How exactly is the evidence and statement just related? They aren't, are they? No.
But the guitar case, why was it wet on top and not on, inside?
Let's talk about that again, shall we?
No, I did not expect you to go through this again. But okay. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. But like, the extent of the messiness, other than it being flooded by bear plushies and sundries, was the broken vase, wasn't it? And a bunch of makeup on the floor, I guess, that also fell when the vase fell. So I'm looking tired in the corner. Let's push these two again. Get a quick refresher. So it was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight?
Objection!
Can we speed this up a little bit? Understanding frustrations and being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Where? And then what did you see next? One was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. It really looked like he was sleeping. Just me or did that right there sound a little odd? The sleeping part, or... Let's see here. So what we're working with is... I would assume this picture. She assumed he was sleeping, but she didn't notice the fucking knife sticking out of his chest, right? Wink. In time of death, age 15, strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Let's try this here.
Objection!
Nope. Made it. You know what that means. Load. Take me back. Take me back, please. Take me back. No need to talk about all of this in such great detail. Well, we found this. Odd. Again, did you not notice this knife? Question mark?
Objection!
It's not. It's not the knife. Well, figures. I hope we are working with the correct statement at the very least. I feel like just press to this? No. Damn it. I should save at another point, I think, so we don't have to click all the way back. Such a messy state, and one he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. We presented the picture with the previous statement, but not this one, I don't think.
Objection!
Try it? Nope. Ain't it? We tried it before we bought it, and then we didn't buy it in the end, because it didn't work. Dang it. Sitting slumped over, tired looking in the corner. I'm actually not entirely sure, because again, I thought we might have something related to the second and third statements, but now that I think about it and that they kinda don't let us do anything with it, I'm not entirely sure anymore. Ripped from the costume, covered in Karita's blood. So tomato juice bears Andrew's fingerprints. Empty, there's some water, but on top of the lid. Again, wouldn't let us push this angle anymore. Around the crime scene, article from the tabloids. So no. Nickel Samurais confess something after the post-ceremony stage show. Anybody has any clever ideas? Should we try connecting the guitar keys to the messy part? Hydrate everybody, once again, if you missed your first couple of chances. And thank you for the redeem. Drinky drinky. Let's try this here.
Objection!
Nope, still ain't it. What am I not seeing here? Surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. You sure did, huh? We found this odd.
Hold it!
Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. Really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me or did that right there sounded a little odd? Want to grab a snack? Guy return. Welcome back. Photo with dead? Didn't we try to? You mean on here? Pretty sure we did, and
Objection!
they were like, nope, does not do the right thing, so we load in again. Maybe check the photo of his corpse? Let's check the photo of his corpse again. Let's go backies. Photo of his corpse, looking very tired. Also, wouldn't you say that, like, the tomato juice is kind of in the way of all the mess? Just a little bit. So she would have, like, you know, have walked to pour a drink, didn't see him being there, quotation marks, deadly tired, or something. looks like he was sleeping. So this. Or the next one. Sitting like that, thought he was dead. Didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he just fainted or something to pour him into juice. Well, we did try connecting the photo to the, oh my god, I wish we could skip this scrolling dialogue a bit quicker. We tried connecting the photo to this already, and it did not work. It's true for our logic, or the button to this. Something's telling me it might not be it, but we can try. Nope, not the button. Pardon? The button is incorrect. I think you showed the dead photo on the part that says I didn't think he was dead. Because in the photo you can clearly see the knife in the chest. Yes, I agree with above, but I could be wrong. I don't know about this. Yeah, is this the one we're talking about? That we should connect it to? Being tired and slumpy and EP. The 6th line. Come on, come on. Get it out of your system already. And I realized that it was dead. That's when I knocked the flower vase over. I mean, we can try connecting it, this one to the picture.
Objection!
Well, what do you know? We had the right idea, after all. The wrong sentence, though. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Ah! Well, again, I guess I was talking about how the tomato juice was a bit in the way of all the crap, and him sitting there with the chest in his knife. Yes, chest in his knife. Not the other way around. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, huh? Ah!
What is the meaning of this?
I'm sorry, I believe you have a bit of chest on your knife. Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Kurita's chest. Anyone who saw the scene would have immediately thought that there was a dead man. That's... well, you see... I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then, so nonchalantly, go pour something to drink.
Your point is?
Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. No. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer. No.
Looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to the light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Engard, is not guilty after all. Yes.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because...
Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
I refuse to testify.
Von Karma! And there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Engard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Is it over? Oh, silly Phoenix, you forget how these games work. We're still gonna have to go and do another investigation after this. There's never just one court hearing. Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually... Well, usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't.
Then I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Engard.
Objection!
Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to spark the absolute, real truth. Speak. My brain is sparking a little, if that's anything to go by.
The absolute real truth? What are you?
Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head,
Von Karma?
but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matangar will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you.
What?
I was told if I spoke then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty.
What in the world is she talking about?
Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. Is Francisca von Karma?
Yes, Francisca von Karma. Huh?
Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Van Guard will be acquitted. As Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and clinging onto them...
That's the end of the sentence? I apologize.
Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do is get our guilty, get our not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please. Someone help me.
Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor?
The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Point taken. Polly will show up and save the day, of course. Oh, now would be a good time, actually. Karma's a bitch. That is also true. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there. Right? Come on, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Taking words out of Von Karma's mouth, I see. At least he didn't bring a whip. Request not guilty verdict. Force Andrews to testify. More! Hot take? Both of these kind of suck. Force? I don't want to force her, but I feel like it's the only way. I have to complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. but I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding.
Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. Engard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me!
That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense theory is the truth.
You're wrong. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however...
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put it, she has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. There it is. Trigger warning, everyone. Stop. Please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. Ah, that's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court that the true nature of pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. Edgeworth, could you, I don't know, pick your words a bit more mindfully, carefully, I don't know. Something that is not this. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop, I beg you. If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. Okay, guys. Let's vote. Who's the bigger scumbag? Francisca or Edgeworth? Hold on. Let me try something, actually. I've never done this before, mind you. There should be an option for a poll. New poll? Another question. The bigger scumbag. Responses to minimum. Von Karma Jr. Edgy boy. Okay. Start poll! Duration 1 minute, I guess. Start poll. Why does it not meet guidelines? Allow additional votes. No? No. Why? Why not? Okay. Bigger. Dumb. If you didn't like the wording, Twitch. Start poll. There we go. Bigger dummy. Here we go. One Karma or Edgy Boy. Vote now. You have 1 minute. Bro wants victory over everything. But at what cost? Edgy? Well, use the voting thing. There we go. 1 vote for Von Karma Jr. Guys, I put up the actual poll. You can try using it if it works. I think the people can see it. I am seeing the votes coming in. People are voting Von Karma. The urgency of the music kinda works with the poll, I feel like. And Von Karma wins, congratulations! We'll send her flowers to the hospital with the... I don't know, a postcard or something. It works? Wonderful. I'm happy. This was my first time conducting such a poll. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. My crime. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure that there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. Send it with a hate note for a whole branch of a family tree.
Stab the body? With the knife? But why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all of this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but... this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again. Just like last time. Last time? So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt and Guard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How's this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
How many is it today? I'm losing count. 4th? 5th? When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. But that scarf is part of the Gem and Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. And that's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice.
Then why did you stab him?
When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. What is the plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weak point to the world.
Weakest weak point, okay?
So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. that was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. Then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one who stabbed the victim with that knife? It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. The horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then, when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Engar's hakama. Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. Lotta. An inconvenience. There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. Lotta. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. Not sure which one's worse. That's Miss Oldback for you. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out walking like myself and get caught again. That's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there.
And what is the secret?
That? I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was a real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume.
Then you should have closed it, you dummy! I think I've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Engar's room and planted the button.
Into Matt's hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck out of the hotel and got rid of it.
My word! What does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Engard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk.
Francisca, huh?
She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
Ah! You gave us a jump scare, Judge. Be careful with that. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she's not the real killer.
Wait, Your Honor! The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright.
But...
Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately.
That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
Today's trial, it's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this. Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day.
The room? The movie, the cult classic, starring Tommy Wiseau. That day?
Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him.
You found the card next to the victim's body.
I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket.
You're tampered with the murder evidence? How dare you?
But it's not as far if this card has any... But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murderer, right?
Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe you hid this from me all this time.
I didn't mean to. What is all this all about?
I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? To be continued. But it may lead to the hiding of Maya, I assume is what you were trying to say, Yash? Well, if you remember, eons ago, when we started this case, Maya found such a card in the room where she was being held, potentially is still being held, and with its help, she presumably escaped the said room. Is it the killer's calling card? What are we going to get ourselves into next time? We're back in the office, apparently. March 22nd, 5:24 p.m. Write and call law offices. Pearl is back. And very, very upset. Very good reason, too. Well, I'm sorry we'll have to leave a child crying like that. But I think this is a good time to call it, actually. What do you guys think? Because who knows how long this section is going to take, and I'm not taking any risks anymore. So yes, I'm sorry, Pearls, we are going. J to menu, as usual, makes perfect sense. Alright then, yes, other part is long, okay. In that case, it is a good idea to leave it for next time, which will most likely be on, let me think, Thursday next week, because this weekend is bank holiday, so I would like everyone to have
a nice time and rest up and do whatever you have planned. On Tuesday, I want us to finish chapter 4 with Saejima. So I hope that also sounds like a good time to everybody who would like to join. And hopefully, fingers crossed, big fingers crossed, massive, huge, towering fingers crossed, we will finish this case and the game next week. No, not Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Sounds good? Sounds good to me, personally. But yes, thank you so very much for the raid. K-Bane's here. Good to have you guys. Thank you very much. Hope it was a good time. And everybody else, hope you had a wonderful time with us. Badgering this poor woman. I genuinely feel so sorry for her. That was terrible. Edgeworth, minus 10 points in your book, pal. In my book, rather. That was not good. Some of my respect towards him is gone. Not gonna lie. That was cruel. But yeah, take care of yourselves. Have a lovely rest of the week and an even lovelier start of the weekend. Enjoy the holidays, those of you who have a privilege of enjoying them. For us, it's gonna be next week here. And yeah, take care of yourselves. See you on, hopefully, Tuesday for more Yakuza 4. And then more Ace Attorney later on in the week. So yeah, take care, stay safe, enjoy the weather if it allows, and see you then. Bye!